HasanAbi corporate. I don't even know what that is. Right at the top of the hour, breaking news. Voters in Illinois, Massachusetts seek to remove Donald Trump from the 2024 primary ballot based on the insurrectionist clause. All right, let's get to Fox News covering the real stuff, though. The real important stuff. Also, let me see if I can find like the NBC Live coverage like yesterday.
To production here.
This is a phenomenon of the past 5 to 7 years where these big iconic franchises will make a creative choice or do something interesting or more progressive than you might expect from their original incarnation. And the conservative media world just pounces. This is partly fan driven. It happened on the last Star Wars trilogy where an actress named Kelly Marie Tran was basically bullied.
The first one is an argument by Maxwell's lawyers of the journalist Sharon Church's fabricated claims
against her and thought that she was a token Asian character thrown into the movie, and it was really hurtful to her. And the fans are egged on by conservative media that takes up the
let's talk about woke wars
the cause
for now,
here, and it's all kind of noise. It really is just noise.
I also wonder, like, obviously, we've heard backlash against like so-called wokeness in movies, right? We know that that's a thing that Hollywood has grappled with here. But when it comes to Star Wars in particular, Daisy Ridley, who was obviously the star back in 2019, her movie grossed like $515 million worldwide, right? So like you got to look at where the facts are and where the reality is here too, it seems, no?
Yes, I mean, this is a project that nobody knows anything about. They're basing this criticism on some comments that this filmmaker made years ago in another setting. We have no idea what the movie is about other than Daisy Ridley is in it, and there's a bunch of Jedi trainers that she's training to be Jedis. That's it. We don't know what the choices are. Now, I will say that Disney is particularly sensitive to these issues because they have seen it come up a number of times. It came up in the Buzz Lightyear movie where there was a same-sex kiss that was in the movie that drew some controversy. It has come up on the Snow White movie that is in development where there was some press. Again, nothing has been seen about that actual movie, but there was some press about how the 7 dwarfs were going to be replaced by a diverse group of helpers instead of dwarfs. So it comes up a lot, and the CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, actually addressed it last month, and he said, we're going to get away from making the message the point of the film. We're going to focus on the storytelling. Doesn't mean we're not going to have a message in the movie, but we're not going to make that the point. And many people in that conservative universe interpreted that as Iger saying, we've gone too woke, we're going to pull it back a little bit.
Matt Bellany, there's a lot to untangle on this one. Founding partner over at Puck. We're so glad to have you on. It's good to see you. As always, we'll have you back soon, I hope. Thank you.
What the hell?
That does it for us for this hour. We've got a lot more coverage picking up right now.
What?
Tonight, the deadly school shooting in Iowa just 4 days.
Yeah, crime has dropped. Okay,
is to make men feel uncomfortable. Guess what? They're not going to watch it, and I'm certainly not going to be the one to pull it up. So just like Captain Marvel, when they try to put these women-first agendas into these action movies, they flop, and this is going to do the same.
To that end, a few data points. Try that in a small town. #1 on iTunes. Sound of Freedom earns $100 million. Top Gun breaks Memorial Day weekend record. Modelo Best Bud Light.
Wait, every single thing that you just mentioned is literally nothing in comparison to the Star Wars franchise. What is going on? Like, I don't care about Star Wars at all, okay? But it's odd when their argument is like, oh, Sound of Freedom did great. Yeah, okay. Or this was the #1 song on iTunes. Oh, that's sick, man. Like, yeah, Barbie made $1 gorillion, okay? I don't know how much money it made, but, all of these movies are massive hits. It's awesome that the new Star Wars director that they're yelling at made a statement about, like, challenging men's perceptions years ago, and these guys are just like, I'm a serious person and not a major baby. And as a serious adult, I choose to absolutely lose my mind in ways that you've never seen before about a quote from a director about a movie that hasn't come out yet, but a quote from a director from, 5 years ago.
And Jerry's loses $2 billion, Disney loses $900 million, but best of luck to the feminist director. I'm sure yours will be a hit.
Yeah. That's why I am a Trekkie. Ooh. And not Star Wars.
Wait, what?
We'll go over in just a moment.
Star Trek is way more woke. Star Trek is literally communist. What the hell? God, these people are so stupid. Okay, I can't do this. They're so dumb, bro. Why do they have Christmas trees up still? So you can ask that reasonable question and they can turn around and go,
former president.
wow, look at that. The woke left is terrified. 11 days to Iowa. Haley DeSantis neck and neck as Trump dominates is such a funny way to cover this story.
Yet Haley and Biden oppose Trump's border wall, confirm warnings of terrorists sneaking in through our southern border. Yet Haley joined Biden in opposing Trump's visitor ban from terrorist nations.
Haley's camp responding, saying, quote, Donald Trump must be seeing the same polls we're seeing, and he's running scared. This is a two-person race between Nikki and Trump. We have a lot to get to tonight. I want to begin, though, here with Jeff Zeleny joining me live here in Des Moines. So, Jeff, you have spent an extraordinary amount of time in this state. And now here we are in the final days. People's got to make up their decision. So what are you hearing from the voters who have not made up their minds yet?
Well, Aaron, surprisingly, there are a lot of voters who have not made up their minds. For some, it's because they truly can't choose. Others are just tuning in right now, just paying attention after the holidays. You hear questions about electability. You hear concerns about specific policy issues. But as these candidates try and make their cases, we hear a lot of voters trying to weigh between DeSantis and Haley. That's why tonight's town hall is so important. But as they make their case to voters, looming large over all of this is what they're actually saying about Donald Trump.
Well, I mean, first of all, he won't debate. I mean, like, how about, he's not willing to get on a stage. He's not willing to answer questions.
Loser!
Chaos follows him. And we can't be a country in disarray and have a world on fire and go through 4 more years of chaos.
Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley are talking a lot about Donald Trump.
I think right now we need a commander-in-chief, a general to lead us to victory who has not yet been wounded in that war. Somebody with fresh legs to lead us forward to the next generation.
And if we don't get slippery, slick politicians out of the way.
Oh my God, you're so cooked.
We'll lose that fight.
Vivek Ramaswamy and Chris Christie are too. The former president hangs over the Republican primary in most every way.
Hello, Iowa. I'm thrilled to be back with so many proud, hardworking patriots in the heartland.
Just 11 days before voters in Iowa render the first judgments of the GOP contest. For his rivals, one of the biggest balancing acts on the campaign trail is how much to talk about Trump, and just how to do it without alienating Republican voters they're still trying to win over. Trump is eyeing more than an Iowa victory. He's looking for a decisive one.
We gotta be sure
got clapped.
that we put this thing away. The poll numbers are scary because we're leading by so much. The key is you have to get out and vote.
As he heads back to Iowa on Friday for a weekend campaign swing, advisors tell CNN that complacency among supporters poses more of a challenge than any of his rivals.
We can put this to bed after Iowa, if you want to know the truth. We can put it to bed for them, too. They can go home and forget it. But you have to go out. Happy New Year!
With time running short to make his case, DeSantis has been sharpening his argument on electability.
I don't think Donald Trump ultimately can win an election.
And relentlessly reminding Republicans what Trump failed to accomplish.
And I have said with Trump, he's running on the same issues that he ran on in 2016 and didn't deliver on. Border wall with Mexico paying for it, deporting illegal aliens, draining the swamp.
Haley bluntly blames Trump for his share in building the nation's record-high debt.
Everybody talks about how good
also
the economy
so
was
stupid.
under Trump, and it was good, right? But at what cost? He put us $8 trillion in debt just in 4 years. Our kids will never forgive us for that.
The question is whether any of this will whittle away Trump's support in Iowa.
I have voted for Trump in the past.
Rick Beatty said he misses many of Trump's policies, but little more.
There's a lot of times I wish he would change his language. I don't think it would stir up as much controversy, but that's his personality, the way he is. And I think that's probably something we just have to live with.
So there is no doubt that Trump does loom very large over this race, Aaron, but it's important to point out there are many Republicans who are shopping and who are interested in turning the page. That doesn't mean that they don't like
that
Donald
guy
Trump
is going to
necessarily,
1,000,000% vote for Trump.
All the drama. The question is, what is
when
that
he's the
balance
inevitable
here?
candidate.
Layered on top of all this is organization.
I hope
That's
everybody
what wins
understands
the Iowa
that.
caucuses here. So the next 12 days, that's what's important.
If they're looking to move on, to your point, if they're not doing it out of disgust or disdain, right, they're doing it out of, maybe it's time. It's very different in terms of what your rival's messages should be. And that's the crucial question. So, Jeff, stay with me. I want to bring in Amy Walter now into the conversation, the publisher and editor-in-chief of the Cook Political Report. So, Amy, great to have you back. I mean, from what you're seeing and hearing, and, you're seeing this reporting as well, who do you think has the momentum on the ground right now in Iowa? Come
on!
Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis.
Who do you think?
Yeah, I think these events
Donald Trump's got like a 70-point lead right now.
Both the town hall tonight and then the debate next week are also going to give us some clues in terms of which one seems the most confident, which one is able to really get the blows in on her opponent or get some attention through these last few televised events. But honestly, I think that it's really now up to Ron DeSantis. He is the one who has put everything on the line for Iowa, and anything other than a second place finish is going to be a huge problem.
And the second place fans, okay, so
good.
He touts every chance, Ron DeSantis does, that he's gone to all 99 counties.
Right.
I mean, I was just watching him in his little vest and remembering back in the day, remember Rick Santorum and the vest, and it went viral and going to all 99 counties. And but yet there's no poll, there's nothing that shows him even close. Is a surprise possible? Could everything be that wrong?
Iowa has a history of surprises, so yes. And the polls are taken a while ago. Before the holidays. So at this point, I think, let's throw the polls out and listen to what the voters are saying.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It is, you do sense momentum.
That's insane.
Here, and it's not
That's
necessarily
insane. They're trying to build a narrative.
DeSantis side as much as Haley, but
that is
organization,
so
again, matters so tremendously here. So I think Amy's
There's
right.
no reason.
There's no doubt that
Okay.
Governor DeSantis
This
has
is like
more at stake here in Iowa.
Bro. Then don't do polling. Okay. I like, it's not an exact science, 100%. But you basically are just saying, you're no different than just reading the tea leaves at that point. That's insane.
Change having an impact when you actually look at what people think, or your confidence in our read of what people think?
And Jeff knows this very well too. The Des Moines Register poll usually comes out the weekend before the caucuses. That is the expectation setter. Where we see movement, unfortunately, may not be for a little while longer. Obviously, we got another week or so before we get through the last week of campaigning here. But if it shows that Trump is as far ahead as all the earlier polling has shown, then it's really now a question of whether or not the second place candidate is Haley or is DeSantis, and whether that is enough to bring Haley into with a big steam behind her, head of steam behind her into New Hampshire. I think there's also something else really important to appreciate about this moment in Iowa, which is the fact that you said earlier these candidates, they're only now coming out against President Trump, sort of addressing him directly. But remember, we've had over 2 years now since the January 6th event.
I've been literally saying
attack on the Capitol. Republicans, leaders.
I've been literally saying that they should have been at least trying to rip into Trump for as long as they as long as they could, and then they refused to do it. And now a week out, you look like a fucking coward. You look pathetic.
Only a handful of Republicans voted to impeach the president over these actions. And of course, they did not participate in the January 6th investigations and the commission. So it's very hard for these candidates now, 3 years on, to suddenly be telling Republican candidates this matter when their leadership in Washington has been telling them for years that it's not important and that it's not a real issue.
Yeah, it puts them in a difficult situation as they try to court that base or court those viewers, as Jeff said, some of whom are ready to move on, but not doing so with disgust over those issues. All right, Amy, thank you very much. And our Jeff Zeleny, thank you. Bob Vanderplatz is with me now here in Des Moines. And anybody who watches anything about politics, our show over the years, great to be with you, Bob. Know you, right? Major evangelical leader here, CEO of the Conservative Family Leader Organization. And I should note you've endorsed Ron DeSantis. So in this whole conversation,
loser,
in that context, will you be happy if Ron DeSantis is number 2?
Well, I think what it is, this is an expectation game now. I mean, Trump's got the expectation he needs to score in the mid-50s. He needs to dominate this. He's telling his caucus goers, we're going to dominate this. We're going to put it to bed. Nikki Haley, the governor of Sununu, is now saying she's going to take second place. So that's her expectation. I really believe Governor DeSantis is going to have a great night on Monday night, January 15.
Yeah.
I think he'll beat the expectations, and it does become
Loser
an
talk.
expectation game.
Okay, now to this point, I guess you're going to say it all sets, and Amy's talking
Sure.
about that poll that comes out, the Des Moines Register poll everyone talks about. Now, what is second? If Trump comes in at 50, if it comes in near the expectation, if Ron DeSantis isn't close, if it's a blowout but he's second, is that it?
Well,
Dude,
I don't know if that's it. First,
saying that Trump is losing if he gets below 50% is so insane.
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact,
Why don't you have confidence?
You're talking about a fucking blowout, dude. You're talking about a major, and I mean major blowout. It's gangbusters. It's over. It's not a barn burner. It's so done. I mean, he knows DeSantis is a dud. He knows it's over. That's why he's saying, oh, Trump needs to get over 50%. And Nikki Haley says she's going to be in second place. But if she does, well, who knows? Even then, Ron DeSantis, shut up.
Criticizing him, saying, you got to go after Trump. What is wrong with you? Why are you not doing that? Now,
you backed the wrong horse.
We've seen some of that from both DeSantis and Haley, but not very much. And certainly when you look at where they're spending their political money, it's all been going after each other as opposed to Trump. So I want to just play one of these voters who talked to Jeff Zeleny. He said, all right, I'm frustrated with DeSantis. He's still going to vote for him, but I want to play what he said.
I think he needs to go after Trump, and I don't see him doing it. So I don't know that he's going to be able to pull this off unless he goes after Trump.
He's going after Nikki Haley quite a bit in ads. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's fine, but Nikki Haley isn't the leader. Donald Trump is. So
yeah, because she's a woman.
That's where it needs to be.
Is he right? Is it time to just go for the person in front?
I guess I've been around Ron DeSantis a long time, and he's the most accomplished person I've seen in a long time, ready to be president. And I think he takes on Trump. I think he draws the distinctions between him and Trump, what would make him a better candidate, one that could win and lead on day one. But he also knows this is a tough needle.
Day one.
You cannot alienate the Trump supporters, the Trump voters. And I think what he's doing, he's making the case of, listen, by electing me, you're going to get all the good of Donald Trump without all of the bad, and you're going to get somebody who can win and lead on day one and for 2 terms.
And I venom is too strong of a word. But is it smart to save your venom and not direct it at the person in front? So if you're not going to criticize that person strongly, then why would people not vote for that person?
Well, first of all, I think Ron DeSantis believes, listen, I'll stand on my own credentials.
Listen, saying Brandon instead of Joe Biden is one thing because it's actually like political memes from politics. Day one and Ramaswamy is not political memes from politics. It's from fucking role play. That's why I make this distinction and get mad when I fuck up.
Without playing the game of just disparaging the front runner.
All right, so Trump, meantime, has put up an ad. And his ad in New Hampshire, where he's now focused, his first ad came out, and it is targeting, well, let me show you.
Sure.
Sometimes you like to be the target of an ad because it shows someone is afraid of you or takes you seriously. His only ad, it is 100% about Nikki Haley, not about Ron DeSantis.
Oh, my God. Oh, she's cooking
and
them.
You take a look at Iowa. I think $36 million right now has been spent against Ron DeSantis. They know who the real opponent is. Nikki Haley knows who the real opponent is. So does Donald Trump. That's why I think DeSantis, again, I think he is set up for a really good night on Monday the 15th.
All right. Well, we shall see. And as you say, so much, so much can happen between now and then. And so many people who will be with us tonight say they are still undecided. Bob, thank you very much. And please don't miss our back-to-back town halls tonight. It all starts at 9 o'clock Eastern right here in Des Moines. And meantime, next, Iranian-backed groups targeting more ships near American troops as a senior administrator.
Bro, are you kidding me? Him attacking Nikki Haley this close to the election instead of Ron D shows that he does not care about little Rhonda at all. It straight up shows that Ron DeSantis is not trouble for him. I think there's nothing funnier than the entire institutional preservation forces within the Republican Party backed Ron DeSantis unconditionally from the jump, only to have him reveal himself as probably the least charismatic person that they've ever put forward. Like, in ways that are worse than Jeb Bush. You know what I mean? And his entire campaign nosedived since there was more attention on him. Every time he went in front of a camera, more people were like, oh my God, this is gross. You're a gross person. I don't want to vote for you. He is the worst retail politician I've ever seen. And yes, Kaya is chewing. She's chewing on the Icelandic ramhorn. Oh, that's so creepy. He went into his pre-programmed practice in front of the mirror pose for a kid asking questions, and then he got stuck there. This is Ted Cruz erasure. Folks, I'm going to keep it a $1.50 here and say something quite controversial. I think Ron DeSantis is less charismatic than Ted Cruz. I think Ron DeSantis is worse than Ted Cruz. At least Ted Cruz knows how to stand in public.
That's a great.
He's stuck.
So if the election wasn't coming up and it was really, really far away, what would you tell Congress, the House?
Dude, Ron DeSantis, also known as Nick Merckx's goat, by the way, as a chatter correctly pointed out. I will never forget the funniest thing that Nick Merckx has ever said when he tweeted out that Ron DeSantis was his goat. That's real. That's so good. Anyway, the problem with Ron DeSantis is that he just looks like legitimately an extraterrestrial species that took over the body of a human and is like trying as best as they can to appear human. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just very like, here's where you put your arms. You know what I mean? Cock your head sideways by 30 degrees. It's sugar, man.